Hi guys, welcome to the latest podcast of Yarn and Black. Just before I do start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm currently calling in from. I'm here on the land of the Wurundjeri people in Bourbon Q, and I'd like to pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. But I'd also like to extend that to all the Aboriginal people who are joining us today and to my fabulous guests that I've got on today. Korpy, how are you?
Yes, good day, Jay. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. We might as well just get straight into it. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I'm Steve Korp, or better known as Korpy. I had that nickname for quite a while now. So I'm a proud Wemba Wamba Wurundjeri man. So Wemba Wamba's in near Swan Hill, but we got ties with Lake Bendigo, and so in Victoria, and then Wurundjeri always just mention the MCG, that way everyone knows where Wurundjeri is. So that's where I'm from, and I like to, but I live and work on Jara country, so I like to pay respects to Jara and their elders, both past, present, and emerging. And thanks for your lovely acknowledgement too.
Thank you. Can I, just for people who don't know, exactly where are Jara lands?
Yeah, so it's Jar Jar Warung, so home of the Jara people, part of the Koorie Nations, and they're based in Bendigo.
Yeah,
in Victoria.
So have you always been in Bendigo?
No, I've been in Swan Hill. So when I was born in Melbourne, and lived there probably the first 9 years of my life, and then moved to Swan Hill. Lived there for all my I think I moved when I was about 26. So I lived in Swan Hill from 9 till I was 26, and then once I moved there, I moved to Bendigo and been here since then.
Yeah. So growing up in Swan Hill, obviously went to primary school and high school. How much Aboriginal studies did you learn at school, and what did you learn?
Zero.
Yeah.
It's pretty common back then.
Yeah. So did you finish year 12?
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so I finished year 12, and then I went on to done a factory job, a place called Polymaster in Swan Hill, and worked as a dispatch manager there. So I worked there for 6 years, and then from there I did firefighting. So I did firefighting for 14 years. So that was with land management, so how to manage the land. So it was really, really enjoyable job. And and that wasn't until then I started learning my connection to culture and understanding where I originally came from.
Yeah. And then you moved into education as well. So
that's
how
right.
did you get into education?
Sorry?
How did you get into the education department initially?
Well, I was a fellow called Craig Leary, just sort of tapped me on the shoulder and said, I think you'd be good at this. And so, I had to go, and I did it for 2 years, and then Craig left to do something else, and then I acted in his role as the manager for the KESOs, so the engagement support officers. So I worked as a Q then, so the Koorie Education Coordinator. And so, I helped manage 12 other Aboriginal staff members, which was, really pleasing to do, and work with so many Aboriginal staff was amazing because I'd never done that before. So education really opened my eyes up, and had some really good mentors in the education space with Simon Briggs and the likes, and Matt Holmes as well. And they were really lovely, and they took me under their wing, and they really taught me how to teach Aboriginal perspectives in the school. So it was really good.
So how well do you think schools are doing with implementing Aboriginal perspectives into their classrooms?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm back in education again. So I left education, went back to firefighting, and then now I'm back in education again. So I'm leapfrogging here, but so I work at a school Nicolle College at the moment in Bendigo, and it's a Catholic school, so I never worked in the Catholic system before, and they've got a Aboriginal perspective in all their learnings, so that's what they're trying to achieve at this stage. Teachers aren't equipped to teach it if they don't feel comfortable in teaching an Aboriginal perspective. Well, they go back to not teaching it. So I'm just trying to encourage all the staff to really go out of their comfort zone and challenge themselves and have a deep dive. And if they don't know, do some research or ask me to follow up, and I can help them with some resources.
Yeah. And I think you picked up on a big theme there, that if they're not feeling comfortable in doing it, the best thing they think to do is not to deliver something, rather than try to deliver something.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard and I think it's good if they feel not comfortable, because I feel it's good that they get challenged in that regard. Like we always try and do fun things to do the Aboriginal perspectives, but like traditional games is always a good one for all the PE staff, and they jump at that and they actually really enjoy learning Aboriginal traditional games. And yeah, they've really taken it on this year, and they've actually done that part of their curriculum. I'm trying to get the school. We're trying to build a cultural garden here at the moment, and that's going to be part of the ongoing curriculum. So our school's quite large, and we've got 3 dams as well. So we're going to try and set up a yabby farm and have a joint management with Jara, so Jar Run, and because they're just their yabby farm as well. So we're going to try and link in with Jara and have the joint management there. We're going to try and do a traditional burn at the school also. So we'll try and get all the STEAM, they call it STEAM, but all the science teachers, because they're interested about fire behaviour and topography and all that as well. So we try and hopefully that'll get up as well. I'm doing a DIG program at the moment, so all the boys feel connected. I've got a Wangara women's health program, trying to get that up and running as well.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of things in place that we want to add to the curriculum. We got Morong Mamas as well, which is out at Harcourt, just past Bendigo, north to Melbourne, and then we're trying to get them to do native plants and how they cook with it. So they cook with all their native plants. So we're trying to get them to come into the school and learn how to cook traditional foods as well. So we are embedding Aboriginal perspectives in all our learnings. So we're slowly getting there, and I'm trying to build the school up to be really deadly.
That sounds awesome. It doesn't sound like the school that you went to when you were a kid.
No, definitely not. No.
We hear a lot of terms being thrown around, and one of them is reconciliation. What does reconciliation mean to you?
Oh, I think it just means that we have a voice and we're sort of at the table. So I think now that you got, treaty started. So I think treaty started back in 2017 for us in Victoria. So that's sort of our voice. So I look at it like that. So treaty's our voice, and we got Trish owners representing mob. So we for Wemba, I've got someone there representing Wemba, I've got someone at the Wurundjeri. So I know we don't cover all 40 nations in Victoria, but we cover quite a large amount. And I know they don't speak on behalf of all Aboriginal people, but they are a voice for us to go to. So treaty is one step. And then we've got the York Justice Commission. So I think with the truth telling, I think that's really, really important. And if anyone's ever watched the hearings of that, probably bring a box of tissues, I think, but or fisty pumps, because you get pretty angry. Things that you can hear as well. So with the truth telling and treaty, I think that is a good step towards us to for Rec Week as well.
Yeah. What would be the difference between storytelling and truth telling?
I think storytelling's, I don't know, to be honest, is it I'll put it back to you. Is it like our dream time stories, the storytelling, and then what did you say the other one was? Truth telling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Or I know sometimes I've explained it that way, and sometimes I've explained it that our history has been whitified quite a lot, and truths have been taken out of it because it made people feel uncomfortable. And now we're in a place where the story's being told, but the truth component of it's actually being put back into it. So we're not adding glitter and taking out little bits that would offend or hurt or upset people. We're actually just saying it exactly how it was, how it is, and not holding back on trying to worry about the poor little petals that would kind of freak out when they start to hear the stories. That's just my interpretation of it.
Yeah, that one, I agree too. So absolutely.
Yeah. Now, we do know there's a lot of people. There's some good allies out there. But what makes a good ally? What makes a person a good ally?
I think someone who is really passionate and willing to know more, and like I said before, get out of their comfort zone. So if it's doing some other training, so if it's cultural awareness training or cultural safety training or self-reflection, whatever it might be, or even the trainings that you provide as well. So for mental health, first aid, because they don't really understand little things like that, especially in education. With the eye contacts, like they don't really know that, and when they're looking at someone and one of us is trying to turn our back because we're too shy or don't want to talk to them, and the teacher's right in their face and yelling at them, and I'm like, well, hang on, so you just try and educate them in that regard. So I think, yeah, a good ally is just someone who really wants to do well and be that pillar. With the school, we got a thing called a fire carrier in the Catholic education. So that is about having Aboriginal perspectives and trying to build Aboriginal culture and safety within the school space, in the school setting. And it's led by the students as well as staff. So if the staff are interested in becoming a fire carrier, they join the fire carrier team, and same with all the students as well. And when they join, we catch up once a fortnight, just during lunchtime, and we have a little yarn about, okay, what do we want to achieve this term, or what do we want to get if it's NAIDOC week coming up. Falls in the school holidays for us, but let's see what we can do and build it up and have more knowledge for all the staff, and any other special Aboriginal events that we try and hold as well. So the fire carrier group does that. So I feel they're good allies for me to have, because it's not always on me, on the black fella to do all the work. So I can go back to, the teachers. I can go to them and say, oh, are you happy to lead this one? And they go, yeah, no worries. So it's, I feel for me in that setting that the fire carrier is a good ally for me.
I actually like the wording of that, fire carrier. I quite like it.
Yeah. No, it is pretty good.
Is that picked up across Catholic schools in general, or just at your school?
No, so it's all Catholic schools. Yeah. So it's really good. Yeah. So I think like with Mansfield, I think with Simon Briggs really rolled out the cultural action tour, I think they call it now, and that's had a series of 50 questions and how to make the school more culturally safe and how you can get those allies into your school.
Yeah.
And with the mainstream government schools, they go through the 50 questions and it builds the school up. Do they have an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander flag? Do they have a acknowledgement park? Do you have any art? Do you have any artefacts? Do you teach Aboriginal perspectives in it? So all those questions builds up, and then do you have an ally within your school, or who's our go-to person that we can go to, because in the government system, you know, when we were Kesso, you had 100 P to 12 schools you had to service and 100 early years. So it's a lot of space and a lot of distance. So you're going up all the way up to Riddles Creek to Gisborne and through Macedon, then you're going all the way to Echuca, all the way to Pyramid Hill, Maryborough. So it's a really big catchment in that they had to service.
Now, you mentioned cultural safety a second ago. What's things that make you feel culturally safe in going to a workplace or going to a service yourself?
I just think knowing that you got good leadership at the school, or good leadership wherever you go. If it's like I worked in government for, like I said, 14 years as firefighter, and that's a government job. So working in government is really about having really great leaders that really take you under their wing and support you along the way. I feel if you don't have a really good leader and you don't feel culturally safe and they don't know how to talk cultural practice, it's really, really challenging for staff. I have seen a lot of staff leave due to bad management, and that happens wherever you go. But I think in my setting, in the school setting, it's just about having that really good ally, really good leader that you can go to and say, look, these are the challenges. How are we going to achieve them? It's not like, oh, no, we're not going to do that, or no, I'm not going to improve that, or let's just sit on that and wait another week, and then all of a sudden 2 years is gone and nothing's happened again. So I think the structure that we have at this school at the moment is really, really good and really, really strong. And I know that I've got the trust and the support that I need to achieve things. Like I mentioned before, that all the things that we want to achieve at the school with the Yabby Farm, nutritional burn, and ditch playing. So I think people will get all them up and we'll be kicking goals.
Yeah. What stereotypes do you still hear about Aboriginal kids?
I think because we have just over 50 Koorie students, and a lot of them are probably fair skinned, and I'll get a lot of staff come up to me. Oh, are they Aboriginal? And they're probably polite on how they ask it, because they don't know how to ask it without offending. So it's quite funny when you see them come in and you know what they want to ask, and and sometimes you let them drag a bit longer, and otherwise you cut them off and go, oh yeah, no, he is. So yeah, or she is. So it's about, I think that happens a fair bit. Not knowing who or who isn't Aboriginal in the school, and if they come and use my service in the school space, they teachers sort of challenge that, and so I don't think they need to see you because they're not Aboriginal. So that, and I turn it around and say, well, sometimes they're not Aboriginal, but they've got an interest, and I feel that's more powerful than anything. And that way, that's where you're going to get your allies again. When you get students to come in and go, oh, look, I'm not Aboriginal, but I was wondering about X, Y, Z, and you go, oh, okay, great. And I'll be more than happy to talk to them about any questions they have, because that's what I'm here. I said I'm here to service the whole school, not just all the Aboriginal students. Yeah. I'm here to help and support the staff, as well as, the parents that all come in here as well. So, and we all got layers, as you know, and we all don't know our Aboriginality as well, and that is a big topic as well. That I'll get a lot of parents ring me and say, look, I believe we are Aboriginal, but we don't know where we are. So it's about trying to help and support the families in that space as well, and try and build their confidence up, and like for NAIDOC themes this year, keep the fire burning, be black and be proud. That's what you want, and you want them to be black and proud and not be ashamed and think, oh well, I think I'm Aboriginal, but I know, down the family line that we are, but I don't know how I can prove it. So they're the challenges that I feel that some students have. But I think the older generation, the teachers, they're probably more stereotypes than anyone. They just stuck in their ways and they never taught Aboriginal perspective. So why do I do it? Why do I have to do it now? And you just got to try and educate them and teach them and say, well, it is important to learn this culture and learn because you challenge them and say, well, what's your culture in the teacher's space? And they probably can't answer.
Yeah. So you mentioned there's 50 Aboriginal kids at the school. That's a good percentage. That's a high percentage of Aboriginal kids at that school then, isn't there?
Yeah, it's pretty good, especially in the Catholic system too. So I feel it's really, really pleasing. And yeah, hopefully I try and recruit a few more for next year and don't lose too many. Well, I only got 4 in Year 12 this year, but that's I feel that's great that we got 4 Year 12s going to complete this year, and that'll build up again next year. And so I think we got about 15 enrolled for Year 7 this year, and if we get another 15 for next year, the numbers will just keep growing. So yeah, it's really pleasing.
Yeah. Now, I think one thing that a lot of people don't really understand is that this is the first generation of Aboriginal kids getting to Year 12, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how recent that really is. So for some of those families that you said there's 4 kids in Year 12 at the moment, are they the first kids in their families that have ever been to Year 12?
Yeah, I haven't really followed up and asked that question, but you're probably going to be yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing that, you know, at least they know that, because a lot of those, well, 4 of those that are in Year 12, they're all got siblings below them. So hopefully they see them completing Year 12 and they want to follow suit. So I think it'd be, really good and really pleasing. And that's where you want to look at, and they're your mentors for the younger kids.
Yeah. Did you have any role models growing up, or do you have any role models now?
I think I never really thought about role models, but I just look at really good leaders that I've had. So I think, but as an Aboriginal leader or mentor, I think you can't go past your uncles and your aunties. But they're always good to tap into. But I really aspire to working in the land management, and you had Ken Stewart, who's leading First People in Millen Valley as the CEO back then, and he trying to build them up and get them up and running, just like how Jara is now. And you look at the Jara people and how they've really leaped and bound. They're the yardstick of the whole of Victoria. True owners. They're that far ahead of everyone else. And then I look at all they say non-RAPs, so not recognised Aboriginal parties, but that's where Wemba falls into. I really aspire to Aboriginal leaders in that regard. So there's quite a few that are trying to talk and lead Wemba and Barappa and Taddy and Latchy. So there's so many great community people out there that are trying to speak and have a voice for land management, and they do such a great job. So I think overall, I just aspire to people who don't, sit at home and do nothing, but they're actually fighting and being a voice and really care about the land and keeping those traditions alive.
The Aboriginal kids at school, what sort of things do they want to know about culture?
Like I said, they're all different in their learning with their own culture. So I think anything I throw out in there, they're like, honey.
Yeah, little sponges.
Sponges. Yeah. So I think when we get the Dig program happening, that'll be really pleasing, and they'll learn how to clean it out and learn how to play it. So I think that'll be really pleasing. But I think they just want to know, the Bendigo Council at the moment is running a youth flick fest, and if they win, they can win money, but it'll get showcased down in Fed Square in Melbourne. So it's a little 3-minute clip. No, can't be any more than 3 minutes. And the amount of people that come up, all the students come up to me and they wanted me to be in their little clip as well. So if they win, they'll probably see my ugly face in it as well. But it's just about what's it like to be an Aboriginal in your generation. That's the topic.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And they're really getting into it, and hearing their stories on what it's like to be an Aboriginal in their generation. It really opens your eyes up on their perspective on what it's like to be an Aboriginal person. And so like some of the stories, one student said that he didn't know he was Aboriginal, but he knew he was Aboriginal. But he goes, I don't look like Aboriginal. So he goes, I just wanted to paint my skin black. He goes, that's how I felt, because I want to feel like I belong. And I said, oh, and it makes you quite sad when you hear those sort of stories. But that's how he felt. He said that's how he feels at the moment, that people don't say, oh, you're Aboriginal because you don't look Aboriginal. And so that's where that racism always happens in the school settings, and it's quite challenging at the school. So I feel bad for some of this generation that they might be more, not as dark as some other kids, but it's quite challenging for them.
Yeah. So if a young person came up to you and said, look, I want to know more about my Aboriginality, where would they start? What would you suggest? Where would they begin their journey?
Well, I'll just ask if they know who their mob is. If they know, well, okay, cool. Do you know this person or that person? If they don't know where their mob's from, I'll say, well, do you know last names? Or I said, who do you know that's Aboriginal in your family? Do you know who their names are? And if they do know, then I'll try and link them in. Like you got the Bendigo Aboriginal District Cooperative, so they got the space there that can do Aboriginalities. So they've got a form they can fill in, so I can send them information about that. So this is where I have conversations with some parents as well. So I'll get some kids come in and say, I'm not Aboriginal on the system, but I am Aboriginal. And I said, okay, well, are you happy for me to call your mum or your dad or your carer? And they said, yep. So I'll call their parents and then have that conversation with them. So, oh, look, your sons came or your daughters came in to me and said, oh, yeah, I'm Aboriginal. Are you supportive for them to come see me and learn more about Aboriginal culture and where they're connected to? And they say, yeah, and that's where I have a more deep conversation with the parents to find out who or where they're from and try and connect them to mob. And if they think, oh, yeah, I might be Tasmania, for example, so, oh, yeah, go the Pollaroo tribe or, go to the Aboriginal org down there and see if you can link in, or if they're local in Jarrah, if they're Jarrah people, will send them directly to Jarrah. But if they're unknown, well, they'll go to the Aboriginal cooperative here in Bendigo.
Yeah. Do you ever have to ring parents and the parents go, no, I don't want them to be involved?
Yeah, I had an interesting one probably a couple of weeks ago, actually, and I had a parent say, yeah, we are Aboriginal. And I said, okay. And he goes, oh, but my husband's not. And she goes, just quietly, my husband's probably a little bit racist towards it, and he doesn't want him to know that his son would be Aboriginal. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, where's that leave us at the school? Do you want him to? And she goes, well, I want him to still see you because I want him to learn. I don't want him not learning about his culture, but sort of do it on a low down sort of thing. So it's like, oh, okay. So it is challenging. It's challenging in homes. and it's challenging at school as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
If I could give you $1 zillion and a magic wand and said you could fix something in the education system to help Aboriginal people, what would you do?
Oh,
And there's zillions of dollars. There's zillions of dollars, okay?
I don't know, to be honest. It's just they just got to have the sense of belonging, to be honest. And if they don't feel like they belong in school, but the thing is, school's not for everybody, and how how Aboriginal people might learn is a little bit different to the mainstream. You sort of got forced sort of how to learn, and got forced to speak English and go to church and all those sort of things. So that's, I think we learn a little bit different, and the 8 ways of learning probably is a little bit that can help. But I think I would like to see probably more Aboriginal students having a network and learning like a real, having Aboriginal teachers would be great. Aboriginal principals, Aboriginal people in leadership in the school setting, and I think having funding, free funding for education for Koorie students would be great.
Yeah.
Or if you got $1 zillion that you can pay for them, but I think that's what stops them coming into probably the Catholic system is the fees and the cost. And I think and getting scholarships for them to live out their dreams, like if they want to be that next AFL footballer or netballer, or be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever they want to be, is just getting them to have that pathway and have the mentors to go that way. Because at the moment, I feel, if you take me away from the school, they don't really have anyone in the setting, and they don't have any Aboriginal staff, and that could be quite scary for Aboriginal students. Yeah.
I'm just watching the time, so I've got like a couple of final questions for you. And one of them is, what's something that people don't know about Korpy that you could tell them?
Oh, it's not much. I'm a pretty open book, so I've got 3 daughters, so I've got so one's 22 and one's 15 and one's 12. I've got the 2 younger ones, they're full on with sports, so they're playing netball and footy.
Wow.
So that's really good. So our weekends are shot. So I can't go anywhere over the weekend. It's just go to footy or netball all week.
I see your posts. I can tell you that's true. I can see your posts.
Yeah. And I have done a little bit of artwork before. So that's how I started that when I started education, because I thought, if I'm going to work in education, I've got to learn more about Aboriginal culture myself, because I'm no expert in Aboriginal culture, so I had to really learn myself and find my connection, and that's what I did. And then I found it through artwork and trying to tell my stories through art as well. So I took that up, and just a bit of a hobby that I do at the moment. I haven't done any for probably over 12 months. I broke my arm pretty bad, and I haven't got back into painting as yet. I just haven't got the motivation. But I'll get there. I'll get back to it one day.
I am watching the time, so my final question I've got is, what would you like people to walk away with from our yarn this afternoon?
I think for me would be just knowing about, like you go back about the truth telling and York Justice Commission or treaty, and for me working in land management for 14 years, and we had so many floods and that they damaged so many cultural sites. Like, you wouldn't believe how many cultural sites got damaged during the floods with people with excavators and just lifting up human remains and dumping it on the levees. And it was really heartfelt, and I feel that really hurt all of us. They built a levee from Korumbury all the way pretty much to bloody Majura. And it was just, it was pretty crazy on all the artifacts that we saw and were destroyed. So I think with that, having those great leaders that want to manage the land, and it's just about having that passion. I feel if you've got that passion about land management, go with it and stick at it. If you've got a passion about education and wanting to be the future leaders, and that's what I like both. I wish I had a job that can do both, do land management and education, because they're both my two passions, especially with fire and doing a lot of traditional burns. Like Joe started back in 2017 and being there when they first started, and now they're the lead agency to do traditional burns across Victoria. And they mentor other traditional owners in Victoria to do traditional burns as well. So I just feel you just have your passion about what you're passionate about and stick at it, and be that strong mentor, be a leader in your community, and I think you can go far.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thanks, Korpy, for joining us today. You know, or you may not know how much I love you and your work that you actually do. And I just want to say thank you for what you do in both areas as well, because it's pretty amazing. So, guys, I want to thank Korpy for joining us today, and I'll see you guys at the next podcast. And thanks, Korpy.
No worries. Thanks, AJ.